And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to APAC North League. We continue with Game 3 at the halfway mark. We got some close ones to start off the second stage of 2021. I'd like to welcome you back. I'm Milosh, host of the show, and with me are my friends in the analyst desk. You'll see Jess and slightly smaller Tim for the desk segment on our totem. Looking pretty today.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling?
I love it. I'm just jumping like screen to screen. It's like I live inside the computers now.
You definitely do it. That's kind of the vibe we got in the beginning for our very cool intro that we did, inspired by our very creative M. Donaldson.
Oh, thank God we have her because I'm not creative at all and I can't come up with, I can't even draw a stick figure. No. So, thank God we've got her.
It's a good thing that you can express your information in this, which is exactly what we're going to do in this one. Our big story for this is two Korean squads going up against one another in the past at either ends of the spectrum, but looks like Kia are trying to find their way or drive their way back into this one for DWG. Let's talk about Cloud9 first and see if there'll be a run over in this one. There you go, Jess.
Damn, you really brought that pun all the way through.
Terrible.
And I really enjoyed it.
I'm
loved it.
Sorry.
Maybe it's the dad joke thing that I'm really getting into recently. Speaking about dad jokes, I can't really segue it that way, but there's actually a lot of experienced and older players in this team. It's also a team that has fared extraordinarily well in APAC North. Ever since Giants finally left and essentially gave them breathing room, they were able to take that top dog spot. They did not lose a single match inside of stage 1. They went to Invitational and, well, they learned that it is a bigger world out there than just APAC North League, and they themselves got slapped around, barely made it out of those groups in that first stage before the playoffs. So remember, we expected big things of them. Unfortunately, didn't deliver on the international stage, but we expect them to carry over at least some of that panache into stage 2.
That Cloud looked like a lot of puff and a lot of air, but not really what we needed at SI for APAC, though their opponents, again, our Korean squad of Damwon Gaming Kia, we have our friend Tim to fill us in on the squad. You talked about him a bit earlier today.
Yeah, I did, and I'll repeat the same again. This is a team that I find really exciting to watch. They haven't had the results to match necessarily, coming second bottom last time around, but there was a lot of close games, and one of those close games was against, guess who? Cloud9. It was 7-4. It was back and forward. There was no clear advantage there, and there was players that had a really great day. I mean, overall, looking at the entire stage, Yas, third rated, standing out above all the rest, doing fantastic work. The one thing that I would comment on is supportively, I don't know if they've got enough focus. There's a lot of plants go down for different members of the team, and I don't know if those roles are maybe just better amalgamated into one position, one person looking after it. But we can see the season was a little bit up and down. 3 wins, 4 losses. It was a mixed bag for them, but if nothing else, they are entertaining to watch. They're fun. They will get into gunfights. They'll play aggressively. They're not scared. They'll move in there, and Cloud9 needs to be careful of that.
And that was, of course, stage 1, Damwon Gaming Kia's first ever foray into competitive play here. And as you saw from the bars that were shown in our final stats, well, they seem to form pretty well against some of the lower end teams in APAC North, but it's against the big titans, your Cloud9, your Cyclops, where they're going to have a bit of a rougher time, which is something that is expected. But even in those games, the differential was not as high as you would think. So there is a lot to look forward to in the future. And as we like to say here, the future is now, of course. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about our head-to-head.
I love that, Milosh.
It's lovely.
It's lovely.
I love that.
Here it is. It's Envy Taylor and Yas. What's the comparison?
Look, I love these two players. We're speaking about things that we're loving. I love Envy Taylor. What drives me, and I know it doesn't show as one of his main attackers there. It shows now that he's moved more into the Nomad role. But I remember him, I believe it was the last stage of last year, ripping through teams, no matter who they were, on the ace. Out of all of the operators, out of all of the roles, he has been one of the big hitters for his team. Unfortunately, as we've moved into 2021, hasn't necessarily picked up that same kind of vibe that I got from him last year, that dominance, same as his teammate Charles. So I think they are sharing the load better, but I would like to see that kind of amazing star player factor that we're used to seeing from Taylors like him and Charles. Not quite as much, but is still the highest rated player for Cloud9 in stage 1.
I mean, he had a great stage one, but so did Yas. We can't overlook that. He was actually the leading player on kills for the APAC North region in stage one. So this is a man who knows his way around a gun. He knows how to find kills, and he's going to do that consistently game to game. He was over 70 across the 7 matchups that they played. So that is an average of 10 plus per game. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty impressive, to say the least. And I'm curious to see which map we're going to be playing on. Maybe 10 more kills can be collected today as you talk about the averages and the numbers. You have become one with the stats sheet, as we mentioned that earlier.
When I close my eyes, there's just numbers now.
It speaks in binary now.
Let's see which maps we're going to be on. Show me the money. It's one map, of course, in our 7-map pool, and so one left, which will be, it'll be Chalet. Cloud9 will take us there by banning Clubhouse, and they'll start off on the attacking side as Dem1 Gaming Kia get to pick which starting side they get to go to, and they'll go for defense themselves. What's the dealio?
Not a lot to go off of, especially if we're going all the way back to January the 1st. There is absolutely not a lot to go off, especially if I'm referencing Cloud9. They beat, I think it's Star Rise is their name, and that was obviously in the local regional league, not on any kind of tier 1 or even tier 2 level. So technically, they haven't really played it at the top level, so I can't reference too much. They did win, but if you look over at Dem1 Kia, which of course Tim will be able to reference, they played it a lot more. So maybe there's more to go off of for Dem1 Kia.
If anything, I think, yeah, that plays into Cloud9's hands, really. You know, like you say, there's the preparation can be done there, whereas Dem1, if anything, they needed a good leveler for me. They needed an Oregon. So, you know, you needed to come in just knowing what is going to happen ahead of you, whereas now they're moving into a little bit of a blind spot, and they're just going to really have to rely on that gun skill and ability, and they're going to find it matched pretty well by Cloud9. So I'm expecting a tough day for Dem1.
These two faced off against one another in the Korean Open not long ago. So that was a Dem1 Gaming Kia victory against Cloud9, a 7-4. A bit of an oddity for those that only watch stage 1. We'll see if SI has had an impact on Cloud9, if it's too much of an impact, or Dem1 have been able to improve on themselves in that off time. Always stories that we want to look into. Justin, thank you very much for your intel. It is time for us to toss it then to our casters. We're going to see Chalet again. Cannot wait to see what it has to offer to us as Cloud9 and their opponents at Dem1 get ready for it. We got Hap and Am ready for it, so let's toss it to our casters.
Thank you very much, and I guess we're going to see if this is another game of potentially missed opportunities. You thinking, what are those? How about, I don't know, Milos calling it a totem and not a totem, because Tim was on there.
Oh, let's go. Nice one. They're all so disappointed now that they didn't think of that themselves.
That's why I'm here.
Well played.
Now I can leave. See you later.
Job is done. Pack it up.
Okay, but also
for Chalet.
Yeah, and missed opportunities. Dem1 last time they were here against Cloud9 when you're looking at them in the sort of first stage, because they were able to pull success in the Korean Open in spring as well. So they've got 2 under their belt now. So is that 7-4 on Villa, the performance where they sort of started to warm up a little bit, but then Cloud9 kind of put pedal to the metal? Are they going to be able to double down here now inside Chalet?
You might hope so. You wanna see Dem1 Kia able to show up a bit bigger than they did before, and you kind of hope. I know, like it might be weird to say, but that Cloud9 will be challenged this stage. You don't
100%.
want them to be going through it flawlessly again, because it's just not as fun if it is that.
You want to test. You want teams to be tested. You want there to be struggle and strife. And if things are too simple, if things are too easy, if things are too expected, I think it's sure comfortable, but not exciting. You want challenge. Because challenge is only how a scene progresses as well. You only really move forward as a region as across any region, based on the size of the challenge. And it's one of the things that's cited, if I'm going to talk about this, is the UK's current sort of pressure and presence inside the EU scene across the Tier 1 of EU is because for a long time in the UKIN, the National League, or when it was Prem, there was these Tier 1 teams that a lot of other regions didn't really have. And over the past year, we've started to see that now. And I think that's why we're seeing these teams like Dem1 really start to explode. And like teams in the Japanese League as well.
Definitely so. The only way to get better is to play against better people as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, indeed. Cloud9 currently 7-0 in their stage 1 and now in 2020 in total. 2021, sorry.
That was last year, 2020.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm using
it's fine.
browser.
You're probably distracted by the wonderful photo shoot that's going on in front of us.
There is a photo shoot.
There is a photo shoot. Milos and Jess, the professionals. When we joined this team, it was like, oh, you're going to have some very experienced people there with you.
Yes.
They're all just children, aren't they?
They're just making pictures all
Just
day.
taking pictures of each other.
For the gram.
They both look very, very good.
Professional as well.
Very professional, very lovely.
It's like they've done this before. Either way.
I'm just shaming them. Okay.
In before the cam just goes on now.
Yeah. But no, the production aren't that mean. Yes. Until I convince them. 6th pick to Flores. He's back. He's back alongside Zero. Obviously, he's someone who gets, especially in NA, we saw it loads on Chalet.
Yeah, but Chalet is also a map that I think lends itself well towards a Flores. Think about the drone holes, think about the verticality that is often there, think about the shields that are being used to set up these key positions on the library stairs or on top of fireplace. And now you do no longer have to expose yourself to try and get in. No, you just need to get the drone through the window or around the corner and make sure that it explodes at exactly the right moment. And talking of which, Untitled are able to pick up the entry kill onto Katsang, and there was a gunfight going on with, I believe it was Woogieman and Harper as well, onto the trench side of things.
Well, it's a good opening for them, and I guess if you're going to talk about C9 in any regards, you have to sort of see how they reset after SI. It wasn't a great performance from them. It wasn't a great performance for the whole of the region, but from them we sort of expected a little bit more, and they expected more of themselves. They sort of came away from it afterwards, and they said we could have done better. So you want to see them, if we're going to tie around to the conversation before of you're forged in fire, you want to see them cook to a better level. You want to see them step it up now in the second split after SI.
Such a good cam actually there. Untitled using the SAM cams to make sure that they will be able to figure out whether or not someone was below and why. Now that's not the case, and as Flores uses his drone to create a bit of a rotation, allowing Static to, well, first of all, move in another drone, and as well to make sure that he himself will be moving a little bit quicker. It's going to be Yas that gets spotted out, and only a second left. Static checking out the side quickly, using it as an intel gadget rather than destructive on the second attempt.
Yeah, drones are the most valuable gadget, and that is a gadget that is gone. They're still sort of trying to set themselves up for this elbow push around this big L. We talk about it as the crux. It becomes a little bit of a challenge to push yourself against this top of the hold on the white stairs. You're trying to dig them out. You're trying to force them away from that side towards the library and away from the books. It's a lot of verticality that you want to get under your belt. You need to sort of have that security because you can't just hop in. And the way they're trying to move the diffuse around as well, they're not going in from the underneath. They're not going to try and take it from fireplace as of yet, but they still have a minute. So if they find themselves too caught up here trying to get through here, you generally don't want to go through fireplace because it's dangerous, but Nova's positioning is the one that might start to trigger some things.
Just saw the shield being taken out with the Flores drone right there in the overhead view, meaning that Coated will have to fall back just a little bit. And as Nova misses the shots right here onto Rin, that should have been an extra kill for Cloud9. But for now, Rin will stay, and Rin will be able to fight, and as Woogieman picks up a kill, Rin will be able to pick up one as well. Suddenly the tides seem to be shifting here for Cloud9.
Well, they tried to shift them out. Shael able to get a double there. Really good take against Rin, and slips around onto Coated. But with 20 seconds left, they've got to really try and dig themselves into the site itself. There's one more body that is up in the library on the close corner. There's a frost mat that could be a big bit of danger here. The come around the corner of Shael is able to get his triple now, but with only 5 seconds left, they've got to get in. They've got to try and get this diffuser planted. They have no clue. He's there. He pops up for a double. Yes! With a very easy cleanup at the end there because C9 just let a player slip through their fingers.
1v3 clutch coming through, no information. Last second clutch coming through. Timing helping there, of course, forced them to push in without, well, limited info. And as a result, DWG KIA able to pick up the first round, even though Cloud9 was in the driver's seat for most of it. The time management a little bit of an issue, and then you can go back a little bit. You can go to that library stairs hold that we saw was very strong. It stood up until the 55-second mark left on the clock, And then you still need to take care of Fireplace. You still need to take care of the player that is on these stairs right there and the player in library. And then you're left with relative little time and also with some less people, considering the fact that they have been taking these losses throughout the round with that Damwon able to pick up that first round.
I guess it's one of those moments where you're looking at what is in the pockets there and how did they get into that situation, because it's a pretty standard place to be if you're expecting a push on the site. Okay, you're looking at the corridor that backs up between the two sites as the main place you'd expect a single player to be. But when you're pushing in one from the door there, you've got one hitting the hatch. Diversify the way you're sort of looking around, be a little bit more, I guess, aware of that situation. They were struggling for time. It was a bit of a slow burn. And I'm wondering if the combination of all those SAM cams and those drones and the amount of intel that they're trying to get in that sort of structural manual way is something that is slightly hindering their pace.
Could definitely be. Maybe a bit of too much reliance onto the new gadget, whereas a Sophia Impact would have done the trick just well. They tried it, but just the ADSs were the issue. Some extra flashes would have been a good choice for that one, as interesting Electroclaw. Trying to pick it up, however, so clearly not in the right position. Wanted to get that edge as well, yes, exactly, to make sure that Box will just be a little bit safer, making sure that he can challenge Fireplace if they would be moving in from below.
Again, a bit of a slow burn and build here as they try and pull any of the intel away from the positioning of Damwon KIA. They are holding on to this sort of rafters area above. It gives them that big control, and it becomes dangerous to enter into Fireplace itself. It's a very tall room. There's a lot of angles, a lot of ways to get caught out from what is just that sort of single doorway or the buried window underneath. It requires a lot of coordination, and that's what's going to try and come here. Push them back, and they fall. They know they don't need to take the fight. They know that there's still a lot of work left to do. They've been able to burn half the time, but now you've still got to get into box. You've still got to try and secure yourself the clarity underneath too.
Now there is going to be a little bit of flank watch available, as you saw Static that is playing from below, I believe, with the Flores. It's going to be making sure that a potential flank would be shut down quickly enough, as Envy trying to get some control with the SAM cams, but Small will not be allowed to come very far with that. And this is a pretty quick drone, but the thing about these drones is that they increase in speed the longer they drive around, and as they do somehow manage to get away into the sides, box has been opened up. Also, verticality has been created now that might be used later on.
Yas is still underneath as well. Yas is in a position where they might be able to come back round. It's all soft in that area. Obviously, it's a frost. They don't have that utilization of explosives from underneath, but they do probably have that shotgun as a secondary. Yes, they do, and they have that 9mm. It's Envy Taylor that finally opens up the kills outside. They went for a big run out, but Yas is there to get the pickup. They had the rotation. That'll give the game away that there's still one underneath. That means C9 are again a bit concerned. They've either got to try and push deep and put themselves just on the other side of the door into the room itself, or see if they can just, I guess, try and pull a body out. But with only 25 seconds, they don't have too much time. Xiaoyao gets dropped with another hop out. Rin goes big and finds success outside of that bathroom, so 15 seconds, and again C9, it's this long stumble, this long hold. They find themselves on the back on. They finally try and put the pressure in. Piano doesn't quite go the way they want. Yas is underneath. Nova has to move through smokes, but the C4 locks it off. They still had so much utility to stop that push when they actually tried to make it happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was a execute at 30 seconds left or something from Cloud9, if you can even call it an execute, because they just walked in and got sprayed down as they attempted it. And even the player below didn't really have to do anything.
No.
He said Yas is below, and yes, he was. If they would have gone for the plant, he would have surely had him, but it wasn't even necessary. All the utility coming in quite big there made it sure that it wasn't necessary to, well, eventually keep it up. Like, hey, there's a... I only see this now. You can see when a team would win the game, in what round they can win the game. Round 7 for Damwon KIA.
I mean, they've won 2 of 2 so far, and it's a first to 7, so that makes sense.
True. It makes sense.
It makes sense.
It's correct as well. So
it is correct.
It's a nice little new feature in the overlay
new scoreboard. There's been a lot of UI changes, a lot of
and
facelift changes.
I'm still trying to.
If anybody from the UI team is awake this early, watching some lovely morning Siege, I think the UI team is based out in Montreal. I think it's morning there. I could be wrong though. If I'm wrong, if you're somewhere else, either way, I hope you're enjoying some. Maybe it's afternoon Siege. Well done.
Maybe it is. Maybe
Congratulations.
it's middle of the
Well,
night siege.
On the release. I can't imagine it's easy. Because I know nothing about making video games.
I know nothing either.
Just about playing them and talking about them.
Yes, exactly. That is as far as we go in terms of our credentials. But hey, am I going to see the shield inside of the bathtub? That is the big question. Because all
You
the
love
other
that
stuff is there. I love it.
Yeah.
There is a caster barricade.
Yeah.
There is a frost mat right underneath the window. Just
you have the
not the
ADSs.
shield.
Too, if they want to stick ADS.
The shield is okay. The shield is toward the library, so which I totally get as well. And the nice thing about this is you can pick up that shield and you can relocate it if it's really necessary. But normally, the right approach that a team would take would be to come from library. In that case, this shield will be more helpful than the one into the bathtub, which of course would be covering off the solarium side of that map. And the nice thing is, you're not in a direct contestation zone. So if they even would come for solarium, you can still pick up that shield, put it down. But for now, it's located into the hottest zone of the attack. So you can actually make sure that they will not be pushing for piano.
So round 1 was a slow burn that fell at the final hurdle in a big clutch situation. Round 2 was the opposite. They couldn't quite get anything. Round 3 here has started in a similar way to round 2. It's slow, it's steady, sure. They're trying to find all the facets of the Damwon roam. They're trying to find all those loose bits, and sure, there's less in the pockets of the hold this time round. It's not so much of bury them towards box as it is, obviously, if you're holding above. Here, though, it's still, you know, it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit step for step. And whenever it's C9 in this situation, you have concerns because Damwon are very good at punishing that. We saw them do 2 runouts.
Yeah.
Both kind of, you know, I'm going to say the first got a trade at least. The second led to success. And it always concerns you when they're a little bit slow.
Some of the concussions being used there to take care of the Surya laser gates. That forces Shao to now rotate around because they need to get rid of the Electroclaw that is on the box. And, well, first of all, they need to get rid of the Electroclaw that is actually located from the top so they can start opening it up. But it's Rin that manages to get that kill as Shao tries to contest it. And with that, the entry kill will go to Damwon for the first time.
Shao wasn't even looking for the kill, went for the claw and got absolutely locked in. And this is what I'm talking about by Damwon KIA are great at punishing. They're great at responding. They're not letting Cloud9 really get comfortable. And, you know, you have these concerns that the more of these sort of rounds at this pace stack up, the more confident Damwon KIA are going to get. Sure, they might over-rotate, they might get punished sooner or later, but at this moment in time, the way that they're responding to Cloud9, the holds and the pressure, is one where they're sort of saying, well, you can try and get control of things, but we're just not going to let you. 20 seconds left. They've just been able to sort of get themselves into box. They're opening up underneath, which allows them to try and get the plant round onto the table. They've got the clarity from above in this point as well. There's one C4 that's in the pocket, but there's these massive firefights. And as they try and slow creep and crawl through, there's the C4. Rip Torn doesn't quite get it, and Nova can't get the stick. It's Katsang and coated for a double over the top. Harper is left. Well, I was going to say, no way, unfortunately.
Tactical being called, and I think that is a good choice right now for Cloud9 because it doesn't really seem to be going their way. They're struggling, I think is the right word for it.
I think it's a kind word for it.
It's a kind word for it because they're leaving it, first of all, very low. I think the first round was the best round where they went a 1v3, but it was 5 seconds left and they had no info.
I think that's the thing, is their first round was technically their best round, but they were still 5 seconds left. They were still in the situation where Damwon were able to punish it. And having a moment that's sort of on that tripwire and then you fall off, or on the high wire and you fall off, is a lot worse than before you even sort of get on it. They were close to the edge and then it all comes out underneath you and you've got to try and get back ground and rebuild yourself towards the start of that. They're struggling right now because Damwon aren't letting them, and this is their moment. They sort of have to take this because if it continued, it was just sort of downhill. It was Damwon were getting more and more confident. They couldn't quite get any control of the map outside of or before the push.
I dare to say Rin is being very, very oppressive or disruptive in how he plays and manages to get these kills here and there onto Cloud9. But besides that, as soon as Cloud9 goes for their execute, they just walk into, you can almost call it a meat grinder.
Yeah.
Because they're just walking and everybody drops left and right. It's like those old World War II movies you're watching when they're trying to storm a certain point and they're just being gunned down by an LMG. Now, there's no Alda on the other side, but they're definitely being gunned down in the same manner. So they need to find something else. You cannot just open up a choke point and run through it. That doesn't work.
I think that's it, is they're running pretty standard attacks on Chalet. It could be because Chalet's still technically a new map in all of this, and they don't have all the intel that they'd potentially want. They haven't played against Damwon Kia on this map itself. It's still learning. It's still fresh to a lot of teams. And they're running, as you said, pretty default things. They're getting clarity on the top of the box and then going for the breach onto the sort of underneath. They're getting the vertical control over the bar and then trying to drop onto the hatch onto the bar itself. They're going for the plant behind the meeting, behind the dining table even.
There's no opposite side pressure.
Yeah.
Everything is coming from one direction, and that means you just put a punch hole into the wall, you wait for them to come through the breach, and you gun them down as a result. So what they need to do is they need to send a diversion in from the back, for example, just so you can catch some of them off guard, you create some panic, you sow some chaos, and with that you have the opportunity to strike back. However, right now, Yas is being spotted out by a drone, and it seems like he's aware, as surely he gets that ping as in your location is being pinged, and thus will rotate out, gets himself into the kitchen, into the hallway, and will be making a run for it back to the site as he realizes one was on that main door. Untitled it is, but this time not allowed to pick up that entry kill.
Well, Harper's going for the deep clear and cleanse right underneath. Rin is holding and waiting on this window. Just turned away at the worst possible time! Oh, Shayal, what a moment. What a moment. It's unfortunate. You can't really surmise that any other way. It's sometimes the coin flips and it fell the way of Rin this time round. That wasn't really, I would say, Shayal's fault, to be fair.
No, that is just the old and famous saying, timing.
Timing.
That's it. It's just a single word basically describes Shao falling there, and he was almost able to get the flick happening, but just unfortunately not in time. And Rin able to pick up a very, very important kill. And that is the disruptiveness I've been talking about. Able to just pick up these skills left and right, basically dismantling Cloud9 before they even can get going.
Now they've crept their way over. They're looking just above the big fireplace door here to kind of hope that someone swings around and someone tries to get that clear across the top of the corridor, but it's otherwise still underneath for Untitled. They're expecting the rotation and the roam coming through. They're expecting the hold, and they're going to keep the bottom of the fireplace locked off. I said it's a big, terrifying play space, but C9 seemingly want to try and take it elsewhere. Yas will give the call away that they're underneath. They're playing around blue. They're looking down this longer tunnel, and Harper, he's back and forth. He's got the frag grenade. The first, it isn't cooked, but it was mainly to force them out of the position, because now they can move up with more conviction. Goes with the second grenade, though. Expected them to actually pop back around to try and get them on the rotate, but obviously long gone.
I wanted to take care of the barbed wire as well that was on that staircase, and somehow it failed again because Harper just had to move it with the sledgehammer to still take it out. And as these drones are being used to try and dismantle and dislocate these players on the side of Damwon Kia, they're just creeping up in the meantime as well. Just look away from flashbangs quickly as Rin picks up a double kill before being traded out, and 10 seconds are only left right now as Cloud9 is trying to collapse onto the side.
Slightly different execute this time around, but they've dug themselves in. They're going to see if they can stick it behind the chassis, but there's Katsang for the first. Yet again, pops up in the corner, and no! They weren't sure where Katsang was, expected the corridor, but that gun can kick at that range. 4 in a row for Damwon, even after the C9 timeout.
I don't even know what to write down anymore. Like in round 1, too slow. Like no information on the last push. 1v3 clutch. Then 30 seconds left. Then it was a slow execute with 40 seconds left on the clock. I cannot keep on repeating myself here. Cloud9 just, I don't know what it is, but they're not being efficient. Let's just put it up like that. There are 2 grenades being used and still having to move up to get rid of the barbed wire. They're starting to move into the side, but they have no clue if there is a player even there. So pops up, gets one, goes prone. They check the corner. Oh, he's not there. Then pops up for the second kill. And of course it all starts with Rin picking up a kill, which you can almost completely write off to timing. Unlucky timing there for Shao. But that's not the only thing that's going wrong for Cloud9.
No, and I think that's it. It almost feels like there's a bit of a lack of confidence. It feels like we're a little bit without that fire that we always had from them. Even in the first split, there was one of the criticisms, if any, that you could ever throw at them was that sometimes they seemed a bit casual. Yeah. They would still be casual and win maps, though. They would still know how to turn on the pressure when they needed to. Here, it seems like they have...
Shield.
There it is, your favorite shield. They have just they're trying to find their pace. They're trying to not play to Damwon's pace. They want to make sure that it's a C9 paced game and round, which to be fair, you can do. But you also still have to have confidence on your swings. You have to have confidence on your movement. And there seems to just be this eyes in this angle of they're not 100% on what they want to do in the moment. We saw it when they were trying to get the verticality onto box and get rid of the claw. There was still a fight there. We saw it there on the entrance. They weren't quite sure where that swing was. They weren't quick to act upon it. And it's these little moments that you didn't really see from them in the first split.
I don't hope that this is Cloud9 having lost their confidence due to SI, but rather them having a bad day right now, and this is just a one-off thing. And,
oh yeah, it's Playday 1.
It's Playday 1. They need to get warmed up, but given their poor performance in SI, you can almost say, you kind of cannot help but think that maybe that has changed things up a little bit for the team.
The upside down repel, seeing if they can catch anybody. We've had a bit of a loose play here from Damwon, and seemingly they've gone for more of an extension on that. They were pushed out of this position earlier beforehand, but they pulled back in a different manner this time. They're going underneath. I think they realized and expected the pressure that was coming in above the fireplace window, so instead they went deep all the way underneath the garage, and they're going to head up Solarium stairs most likely to just sort of reinforce the back line of that defense. That does hand over a large portion of the map, but it's down to C9 to take it with some pace, and they're still not 100%, so it's a step-for-step clear. It's droning yourself and making sure that you don't get gunned in the back.
They could have had control quite early on already. Library has been clear for basically 1.5 minutes, and only now they've taken control of it, trying to push through towards the actual box, towards the plant spot. And well, they have to get rid of the Electroclaw. Now has been done by the IQ that they have brought, so quite efficient in that. And as Kota does go DBNO, that means the entry threat could be to Cloud9 if they manage to secure him.
It was a statistic that they were very good at throughout SI, their ability to get the entry. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite get that lockdown, that continual pressure on it, as you said and saw. That is the bathroom that is bloodied and covered. They're droning it out and getting all the eyes and the intel that they need. They still have all of their bodies and their ability to swing round, but they're not confident with the rest of the hold and the rest of the push. Envy Taylor's going wide again, going to try and hop in. No. Actually pulls away from Trophy, instead goes to the big double window onto the bedroom itself to see if there's a bit of a loose limb that they can start peppering with bullets and offer a bit of a pincer. It holds, but there's still a body underneath. There's still C4s in pocket. There's still 3 smokes in pocket. There's only 30 seconds left, and whatever C9 do, they have to do it fast. They try and push themselves past. They cover, and Nova's just going to see if they can stick it in and amongst the chaos. Harper with a great take onto Rin, and suddenly everything's popping off, but Nova sticks it before being dropped. It was the kill from underneath. The cover and the explosions pulls it round for them, and they've been able to actually hold a post-plant better than they've been able to take the plants previously. So, Shayal, you are the only one left in this situation. Yas with a triple, they know roughly where you are, and there's the intel. There's the cover! And it's Yas with one more for the tally.
Post-plants situation. Yas with a 1v... well, not 1v3, but managed to pick up 3 kills by himself there. Very big here for the likes of DWG KIA. And then even when Cloud9 managed to find some success by sneaking in, opening up the box, they're able to send first person past. Rin does not respond, wanted to go for the second, which just didn't come. Got taken out himself. The plant goes down, and you're like, all right, you got a man advantage. You have the bomb plant down, and you need to hold this off for 45 seconds, and the round will be yours. And Dan Yas comes in, picks up a triple kill, very big one, and DWG KIA win their 5th round. They have the opportunity to go for a flawless first half and secure themselves a first point already very early on in this stage. And that would also mean that Cloud9 for the first time in 2021 wouldn't be able to pick up the full 3 points in APAC North.
Rough first day at the office. And I guess so is the thing is obviously it's day 1 of the split. It's hard to gauge overall performances on a single day. Sure, you can have a look at, you know, players that might have stepped up on new roles or changes like that, but you never know how much of it is the day. You never know how much of it is the map. There's a lot of other variables that you only really get ironed out when you have more data to throw on the scatter graph. It's something that comes together with time, but what you can say here is in terms of confidence, in terms of aggression, in terms of setting the pace and the tone and the timbre, it is all DWG KIA.
Yes, and Cloud9, the so dominant team we saw before, not really here. Let's just say it like that. It's just not really showing up yet. And you're talking about new roles, but it's also not really the case on Cloud9. Everybody's still playing the operators that they would normally play, and they brought Flores for a little bit, but decided to go back all the way to basics right now by just removing him from the lineup as well, maybe to find a little bit more luck that way. And as the drones are being pushed forward, the first gunfight will be de facto here, and Rin will be picked up, but will he be aware of the refrag potential? Yes, the drone will at least give him the information. And that means Harper will be walking away with the entry yet once again.
Finally, they've been able to find a kill in that opening minute. They've been able to push themselves into the site and cause some problems early. They are, for the first time, grabbing the Damwon Kia players and forcing them into these situations way before they are comfortable and happy. And it's something where we sort of said and got the idea of this build of confidence. They were only able to pull it off once at the very beginning in that first round, where it ended up going their way. Since then, it has generally been the Damwon Kia show. Could this be that important moment where they're able to swing something of a round into their favor? There's still a lot of work left to do. There's still obviously those bodies above, and they wanted to see if they can get a handle on those. For now, it's down to the pressure that Cloud9. Can they keep it up?
Big question, can they keep it up? Bit of a, well, missed piece of information for Envy right there. He didn't check downwards, so might not be aware of the fact that the window has verticals right below him. And as Katsang picks up the kill onto Envy, I was going to say that could lend for a C4, but not even the case here. And the Castle will be holding tight right behind the Half-Wall, and that means they will need to try and force him out, because otherwise they're not taking this top floor from him.
Yeah, for a second there, he put out the super shorty. I think he expected more of a pace than it was. They're trying to clear the corner. Crux just caught on a drone as he has to pull a little bit further back. There's some cover and some support as the grenade goes over the top. They just want to force him out of the box. They want to give themselves that entry. They have a bit of time left, and they're holding the angle to make sure he can't really, truly get comfortable. But they're still responding. They're still getting a bit aggressive. They know as long as that they can apply pressure onto the box, whether they're there or not, is time where Cloud9 can't massively feel comfortable. Hey, Coated, you're making sure they don't do what they did before and sneak in.
They don't have a drone. They don't know that he's there. There's still 4 left. Harper will go down, make that 3 drones. But as long as Coated stays in this position, there's no way that that plant will go down. Nova will now spot out defeat, though. They know they have to pre-fire it. But are they going to be able to be successful? I don't think so. It's only 1 man left, and Nova will drop as well. And even though they get the entry kill yet once again, it is going to be Damwon Kia to pick up the round. And with that, we have 4 entry kills for Cloud9, and not a single one that they managed to convert.
6-0. 6-0 we find ourselves. And early on, after round 2, you said, hey, look, you can see when the team has a chance of taking the map. You can see it. And I think Damwon Kia have taken that as a template and a guideline and gone, oh yeah, we can win this on the 7th round, and that's what we're going to try and do. And to be fair, you know, even though it's the turn of the half, we really need to see more confidence from C9.
Yes. It's a good way to say it. We need to see more confidence, but it's also just a lack of being able to deal with things. It's not just confidence. It's just, all right, we know he's upstairs. You know what? Let's just open up and try and see if we can go through the inside, because that really went well in round number 3. When we all got picked apart, when we tried to storm the side and try and get the plant in. Spoiler alert, did not go well. I think it was a triple kill coming down at that point. So now, at least they're going to be on the defense. They will not have to deal with annoying setups that are being put up by defenders. They can put these setups up themselves. However, it still requires adaptability because, you know, Damwon Gaming will be coming up. They will be attacking, and if they bring something that is not directly into the books of Cloud9, how will they adapt to it? Because that is seeming to be a big issue right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's going to, you know, should be able to pull them a couple of rounds here is their defenses are pretty good. Usually it allows them to have themselves tested. Damwon have a bit of work to do here in trying to pull them out, but they only need 1 round. They only need 1 part to fall into their favor. They went for a rush, hit with the double. Katsang killed them, picked the diffuser back up. They're going to stick it. That's why they dug through. Rin, in the meantime, gets a very important kill. They have the cover of that Lion if they need to pop it off. It's a post-plant situation in and amongst the smoke. Another one pops off, but well, it does get the kill. It's a 3 versus 3 post-plant situation. Lion still on the board. You still have that sledge and the possibility of locking it off above. They have to wait. They have to hold themselves stuck in a moment. The drone gives that intel. They're popping around the corner. They've got to time this jump out on this line perfectly. 20 seconds. What are you going to do here? C9, the cover comes through. Static gets one. Now the pings are coming through. One more pop-off, one more rotation. A very important moment. Slightly slipped through. The cover comes through. The kill. It's all falling together. A 1 versus 1.
No
one
time.
above, one below. It's out of time. It's no
7-0.
C9. It's damn son Kia with a 7-0.
I think this is the first time where you can actually use that phrase, and it's completely justified because Damwon Kia completely obliterated Cloud9 here. And look at how happy they are. You saw them jumping up as well because Cloud9 is the big name in this region, in this league. And they just 7-0'd them. Cloud9 was nowhere to be found.
I mean, the play on the rush, killing the teammate to get the diffuser back to make sure they got the plant. That's that moment of, like, when you sacrifice somebody, it's like, go on without me. It's a heroic play. It's a moment, and it worked this time. I said they only needed 1 round to go their way. Why not take the first one?
I kind of expected, Loki expected a rush to come through, and the reason he, of course, team killed it was like, yeah, maybe there's a second Frostmat, I don't know, but like we can do this 4v5 as well, and they definitely did. So, you know what? I think we talked enough about this.
Yeah,
I think we did. I think we did. So let's toss it over to the analyst desk.
I bet you we haven't talked enough about this. We will not